This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. Okay, hello. Welcome to Bois, King of the Hill podcast. I am Mike, that is Rusty, and this is our second go-round at this episode. We got about 2 minutes in, and then all of a sudden things stopped on us. So we're going to try this one more time. Welcome to all of you. I hope you came back. We are all the way up to Season 7, Episode 15, or in the year of our Lord 7, ABE 06, An Officer and a Gentle Boy. Originally aired Sunday, March 9th, 2003. When Bobby repeatedly disobeys Hank, he is forced to attend the same boot camp Cotton went to in his youth. But to Cotton's horror, the once draconian facility now mollycoddles its cadets. This was directed by Gary McCarverKlay Hall. Everybody says still looking fresh. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Fresh.
This was directed by Gary McCarver and Clay Hall. Writers are Mike JudgeGreg, Daniels, and Dan Sterling. And you said something about Dan Sterling when we did this before.
Yeah, so Dan Sterling, he actually wrote the interview, the movie The Interview with James Franco and Seth Rogen, those films, yeah. And then he also wrote The Long Shot, which was also some kind of romantic comedy or whatever with Seth Rogen in it. But he also worked on Sarah Silverman program, and he worked on The Office too. So
yeah, he was he's definitely been around as far as this stuff goes, which is great. And you start to see kind of that family develop of all these people that worked on The Office and all these different projects together.
Yeah, he worked on that too. Yeah.
All right, so we're at the Hill House. We're in the hallway. Hank and Peggy Peggy's taking pictures of Hank. He's standing there with a little present. You can't really tell what it is at first, but she's taking pictures of him with this present with a bow on it. And he goes, "I bought this whetstone the day Bobby was born. I can't believe he's ready to sharpen his first mower blade." I mean, how exciting for the entire family.
Exciting for all, yeah. That was
boy, I'm telling you.
That was never something that I just was like, "Hey, let's go do this." You know, that's not my thing.
I would run over big things and break the mower on purpose so I wouldn't have to mow.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. He knocks on Bobby's door. He goes in there, and Bobby's still in bed, but he's playing video games, just kind of hanging out of the bed, playing these games. And he goes, "Son, you're a teenager now on your way to becoming a man. This will help you on the journey," and hands him the present. We now know it's a whetstone.
It is a whetstone.
Bobby takes it and says, "Wow, I've always wanted one of these." He unwraps it and immediately goes to his feet and starts using it as like a pumice.
Which is kind of gross.
It's kind of gross, but it's funny. Hank says, No, stop that. This is for sharpening mower blades. You'll sharpen every Saturday, and when you've shown me you can handle the responsibility, you'll get to use those blades to mow the lawn. Oh, boy, what a neat deal. Artie is asking if you got his notes.
I haven't looked, but I'm sure,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Bobby says, "Oh, okay." And so he puts it off to the side and he stacks it on top of those video games that he's playing. And he goes, "Hey, don't put it down there." It falls off, cracks in half, and Hank is mortified just simply because he's been holding on to this thing since Bobby was born. Right?
Yeah, no, it's like this family heirloom. It's become like a little heirloom thing.
Hey, Black Ant, welcome back.
Also, I want to say about this episode too. So for me, when I look at the show or I think about the show, of course, it's about like a bunch of families in a neighborhood. But to me, it all boils down to the end of the day, to the core of the show is the four friends, Hank, Boomhauer, Dale, and Bill. So that's what's unique about this episode, is that all the episodes we've watched and will watch, this is the only one that does not have Dale, Bill, or Boomhauer one at all in it.
Yeah. It is odd. Like I had said earlier, I didn't even realize it until I was done with the episode and went back, to do some other stuff that none of the guys are in it. I mean, honestly, there's not a ton of characters in this show at all.
That's very, very minimal, but I think that's like a part of the isolation thing, because the show kind of has Bobby talking about Bobby's isolation and then talking about Cotton's isolation. And I feel like that's a part of it, maybe, is to eliminate a lot of the characters in the show to give an isolated feeling to the ones that are in the show.
Cotton is isolation. I mean, he's just is isolation.
Yeah, Black Ant. It'd probably be safe to say this is probably the one that he's not in.
Yeah.
Whenever there's low secondary characters or tertiary characters in the background, it's probably not going to have Johnny Hardwick because he does voices. He does random little voices for people, and then this doesn't have any of them in it at all anyway. So I'm pretty sure Johnny Hardwick's not in this one at all.
Black Ant had asked, I know Johnny Hardwick was in every episode but one. Is this the one? And it may very well be. It may very well be the one.
I'm pretty sure this is the one for sure because the only characters in this one is the Hill family, the principal, the crafts teacher, and the cadets. That's it. It's Hank, Peggy, Bobby, Cotton, Dee Dee. No, and it also doesn't have
what's up, Mr. Green?
It also doesn't have damn, what is her name? Luann.
Well, there's no Luann.
Yes,
there's no neighbors. There's no anybody. I mean, it's literally just the three of them plus Cotton and then some ancillary characters,
Yeah, I mean, Alexander, it's called King of the Hill. So the main focus is Hank and Peggy. But for me, for what I visualize and from my perspective, I see for me, the core of the show really is Hank is the king of the hill, but it's about him and his buddies. Because all the flashbacks, it's just him and his buddies. And there's always an antics going on with him and his buddies, regardless of any of the what's going on in the plot. Regardless of any A, B, C plot, it's always got some kind of antic or something with them in it. So I don't know. That's just how I visualize the show.
Yeah. So the whetstone falls and breaks in half. Bobby's like, oops, sorry. Hank is very angry about it. So he takes him outside to teach him a lesson. He says, you're going to rake the leaves until whetstone is paid off. And every Thursday, you're going to bag them and drag them to the curb so they can be picked up by garbage man Morehouse. And I just love the fact that that he knows the last name of the garbage man. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's funny too. He probably knows the last name of every service guy that comes to his house.
Yeah. Black Ant says one of her favorite episodes. I can see that because it is it's a quick episode, which I know they're all the same length, but what you get out of this episode comes fairly quickly. Okay. Then he takes him outside to rake leaves, and he says, you're going to rake leaves until that whetstone is paid off. And every Thursday, you're going to bag them and give them to garbage man Morehouse. He goes, what about he just bags them? He seems to like it, Dad. He's made a career of it. He goes, start raking. So he makes him start raking. Later, he comes back out. He sees that the leaves are still on the ground. And he goes, what the Bobby? He calls him over. Bobby comes over. He steps on a rake. The rake hits him in the face, just like old Three Stooges.
Yeah, the old slap stuff, Buster Keaton, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And Alexander wants to know what a whetstone is, because I've only been given.
Okay. I'll go ahead and explain it. So
sure. Explain a whetstone.
A whetstone. Whet is the preceding word there. So it's whet is WHET, and stone is two words put together. So whet means to sharpen the edge of steel or sharpen a stone or a knife, and then they grind it and then they hone the blade, which honing is the folding of the blade. So whenever you sharpen a blade, it's like this, like on the end microscopic level, it's like this, and then when you straighten and then you hone it, it makes it like that, and it makes a strong sharp surface. But it's actually formed of quartz. And in the United States, the Ouachita, however you say it, in Arkansas mountains, the mountains in Arkansas, which starts with an O, I don't know how to pronounce that. That's where they mine it all at for the United States. But you could get it in Turkey too. It's called the Turkish stone in Turkey. That's what they call it.
My stone became a whetstone after my dates, says Black Ant. Nice job.
Yeah.
All right. So he comes out, he steps on the rake, it hits him in the face. He's always practicing his slapstick. He goes, hey, I've been practicing all morning. He goes, oh, that's great. You're grounded until you pick up those leaves. He goes, oh, okay. He goes, I mean it, mister. He goes, can I take the rake with me? No. So I'm not sure why he wants to take the rake with him unless he wants to just keep practicing. Later on, Hank comes down the hall. He's getting Bobby for dinner, and he says, he knocks on the door and says, dinner's ready. He goes, oh, in a minute. He goes, son, I'm sorry I had to come down so hard. And he goes inside, and you see Bobby. He's got a bunch of stuff up to his face. He goes, I'm sorry I had to come down hard on you, but what are you doing? He goes, oh, just smelling stuff. Clock radio smells like a Game Boy, but tastes like my library card. I wonder if it smells different when it's on. It's insane. I don't know why he's
I don't know why he's going on.
I don't know why he's sniffing everything. Next, we get to Casa Linda. Hank is over there helping. Linda. He's over there helping Cotton. He's fixing his AC. Cotton says, "So, where's Bobby? I want to talk to someone while you work." Again, very mean. Just an offhanded thing, but like, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to somebody else while you're working.
I want to talk to somebody else.
Hank says, "Oh, he's grounded. Not that he cares. He's sitting there smelling things in his room. That boy ain't right." And like we talked about, the phrase "that boy ain't right," you honestly don't hear it that much.
No, it's not that common of a phrase as you would think it is. I'll do a count one day and go through and count them all.
Yeah.
But, I bet you it's probably less than 20 times over the whole show. He probably says it.
Artie says he's a mean kind of funny. You're absolutely right about that.
You got the over-under on that.
He goes, that boy ain't right. He goes, don't blame Bobby. You've been babying him ever since he was a baby. Well, he was a baby. He says, I don't baby him. I've explained responsibility to him 100 times.
To be fair, he kind of has like tried to teach him.
He has.
Yeah,
he has. Every chance he gets, he tries to instill a lesson in him, which is part of the show, you know. Yeah, Artie says that's how Buck described him. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, that is how he described him.
So he goes, explain. You don't explain responsibility to a child. You pound it into him with steel-toed boots. I'm not sure that's the way you do it either. He says, he goes,
don't
well,
recommend.
I don't. Yeah. He goes, I don't really know. He goes, I know. I'll tell you. We got to chisel a man out of the baby fat via Fort Burke Academy. That's what worked for me. Hank says, yeah. He looks at a black and white picture of himself, and he's kind of reminiscing, you know, but also he's kind of teary-eyed or whatever. He says, well, I always wanted to go to the academy. He goes, and I wish I could have sent you. Unfortunately, you were such a bumbling moron. I couldn't vouch for you. Again, very, very angry.
That's awful.
Don't understand. Hank says, I think I would have made a great cadet. He goes, nah, you wouldn't have been no good. But if you're gone, you'd know how to handle Bobby. Yep, even the academy 2-week boot camp does more than most parents can do their kids in a lifetime. Now, Bobby, he'd make a fine cadet. And he looks at a picture of him, and it's Bobby on the beach, and Bobby is sticking his tongue out. He's got his eyes crossed, and he's just making a face for the camera. I'm not sure why he thinks that. Bobby would make a great cadet, but okay, he has decided that, so that's good.
I think it's his ability to put up with discipline. I think that's what it is. His ability.
It could be. It could very well be. And we learned at the end of this that he's pretty damn tough.
Yeah.
All right, so later on, they're in the bedroom. They're getting ready for bed. Peggy is ironing, which is not something you see very often. Yes, he does have a sailor hat on as well, Mr. Green. And Hank's in bed. He's talking to Peggy. Peggy says, I do not know how Bobby gets his cape so wrinkled. Cape, number one. That is it's always a red flag when your child owns a cape. Hank says, yeah, I don't know what to do about him either. Would you think about letting the instructors at Fort Burke take a crack at him? She goes, Cotton's old school? Sure. And then maybe we could send him to Cotton's old POW camp. He goes, Peggy, I talked to the principal, and he assured me that they're tough but not rough. He spent a long time on the phone explaining the distinction. Now, come on. Today, you're ironing his cape. If we don't take drastic action, tomorrow, there'll be a top hat in the picture, which I think Bobby already owns a top hat.
Yeah, probably. So they're talking about in the chat, they're talking about Bobby turning 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby turned 13 forever ago, honestly. He turned 13 in I think his season, whatever season was late 2000, season 3 maybe, but it was in that episode, I Don't Want to Wait for Our Lives to Be Over.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what season that was in, but that episode or whatever, that's when Bobby that was when he had his
well, he's got a point though. He does say in the beginning of this episode though, Hank says to Bobby when he gives him the stone, he's officially a teenager. And
Bobby actually ages up 3 years in a span of a few seasons. Like season 5, he turns 13, but there's two episodes. There's one episode where he turns from 11 to 12 and then from 12 to 13.
Artie's right though. It does sound like lawyer language, tough, not rough.
Yeah, tough, not rough.
I mean, it does sound like something you'd have to say because there was a lawsuit of some sort. Okay, so now we've got we see Bobby putting marshmallows in his cocoa in the kitchen, and in comes Cotton and Hank. Hank's got a little gift. He goes, "Bobby, it's your Gampy. We got a little present for you." I just love the fact that it's Gampy and Ging Ging. Bobby says, "Hi, Ging Ging. What'd you bring me?" He unwraps the present, and it's a uniform. So he's officially going to the old school. He goes, "Wow, a costume. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. It's perfect." And he thinks that they've just given him a costume to play around in, I guess. Cotton says, "That ain't no costume, boy. It's a uniform. Standard issue for all cadets at Fort Burke Academy." He goes, "Huh?" He goes, "Yep, we're giving you the privilege of attending the Academy's 2-week boot program. Enjoy your spring break, son." Good God, it's a spring break.
Oh, no. That's a horrible way to do somebody for spring break.
Boy, oh boy, that's rough. He goes, "Boot camp. Can't we work something out? What if I agreed to a spanking?" And Cotton says, "Oh, you can have both." I mean, like it's a present. You know, you can have a spanking and you can go to boot camp. Later in the day, they're driving. They're in Cotton's car, which is weird, kind of
weird, yeah.
They're not driving yet. They're still in the driveway. Bobby's in the uniform in the back seat. He's got the whole thing on. And Peggy is like seeing him off. She goes, "I'm not sure what this means, but I once heard that when you're stuck in an unpleasant situation, it helps to lie back and think of England," which I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
That's funny, though. Cotton says, "That's enough. Hank's wife, you got more feelings to express in the kitchen. Go put them in a bundt cake." Yeah, okay. Now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the phrase "lie back and think of England" is actually it's a trope. It's actually a TV trope, and it's like where a character is zoning out because their partner is incredibly bad at sex. That's like that's funny that she would tell that to Bobby, but that's where that phrase comes from. Lie back and think of England is like having awful sex. That's kind of funny.
So they're driving to the academy, all three of them. Bobby's in the back seat. You hear Cotton go, "P diddle," and he punches Hank on the shoulder, and he turns around and goes, "Come on, Bobby, whenever you see a cripple plate, yell P diddle and punch your dad." A cripple plate. That is rough.
Okay, here's a little deeper explanation for it. So the think of England portion of the phrase carries the assumption that submitting to sex is not only a marital duty, but a social patriotic one, presumably because both maintaining a stable household and bearing English children were assumed to be a part of a woman's duty to her country.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? That's insane where that came from. It's even funnier that she used it to Bobby. It makes it kind of funny that she told that to Bobby before Bobby's going off to this ROTC camp. But it's a literary thing that shows how intelligent some of these writers are, these little quips and these little things that they put into the show like this.
Yeah, that's pretty damn funny. So they are on their way, and the fact that that Cotton thinks it's fun to see a handicap plate and punch somebody in the arm for it. That's a great game. Bobby says, "I'm not in much mood to play games, Grandpa." He goes, "Come on, boy, take your tee-hees while you can. Take your tee-hees while you can. Soon enough, all the silly is going to get beaten out of you for good." Hank says, "You'll be fine, Bobby, but you start crying, just try to push the tears onto your forehead so it'll look like sweat." I don't understand that phrase. I don't know how you do that. Not real sure how you push tears onto your forehead, but all right. Cotton says, "In my day, the principal was the meanest son of a bitch God ever put on one leg. He'd lean on the desk with both hands, swing his leg at you. Then when you were standing there shocked that a one-legged man had kicked you, he'd bite you. he gets one little tear that comes down, and he goes, "Oops, well, how you like that? Must have over reminisced and brought out my pain water." He goes,
my pain water.
The funniest thing to me is that after he's had just the slightest emotion, he goes, "P diddle." I mean, just like he's all depressed now. So his P diddles get worse. They pull up at the academy. They start to get out, or they pull up at the academy, and Cotton says, "There it is, boys. God, ain't it beautiful? That, my friend, is the hole." They look at there's a like an isolation thing over there that they would put kids in or cadets into so that they'd have to spend time in the hole, just like in Cool Hand Luke or anything like that, where they put you in solitary and the sun is beating down on you and they try to sweat it out of you. He says, "If I had a nickel for every boy that went loco in there, I'd be eating nickel soup. It's
a lot of nickels."
Bobby says, "They can put a boy in the hole." He says, "No, he goes, "Yeah, I got to. It's hard to be willful if your will's been broken." They start to walk to the gate. He's now talking. He turns around and talks to Hank, and he says, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I was planning on coming in with you guys. I thought I explained this to you 30 years ago. You ain't good enough." God almighty, he's just so rough. Hank says, "Well,
he is rough. You ain't good enough."
He said, "I was just going to help Bobby get." He goes, "You've helped enough. Starting now, Fort Burke takes over. So keep yourself and your hippie style of parenting outside the gate." They start walking towards
the. I think it's funny that he calls him a hippie. Like,
he just
takes the farthest thing from it.
It's insane. They start walking towards the academy. Hank is just left outside the gate. Bobby turns around and goes, "Dad." And then that is our first commercial break. And we'll take that and we'll be right
back.
There it is. Join the Daily High Club, the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and accessories. Since 2015, we've sold over 1 million quality products and teamed up with legends like Snoop Dogg and Tommy Chong. Ready to elevate your smoking game? Visit dailyhighclub.com for our El Primo subscription box or shop unique pieces today.
Discover the world of luxury sex toys at Luxury Toy X and indulge in the ultimate pleasure experience. For years, we have been dedicated to the belief that sexuality and wellness are essential components of a happy and healthy life. With over 70,000 satisfied customers, we take pride in our ability to provide products that enhance your sexual well-being. Join our community of satisfied customers and unlock a world of pleasure and self-discovery. Visit luxurytoyx.com today.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com.
I'm Hunter, the founder of Hello Cake, and today we're digging into ED meds. The number one thing we hear is that guys are sick of waiting for ED meds to kick in. Traditional ED meds take about an hour to kick in as they have to go through your digestive system, where Hello Cake's ED medication dissolves under your tongue and works in about 15 minutes. That's about 3 times faster than traditional ED medication. Curious about ED meds? Go to hellocake.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Hello, and we're back.
We are back.
We left Hank outside the gate. Cotton and Bobby are walking towards the academy for Bobby's big adventure. And now we see a big group of people dropping off a bunch of other kids. And they walk up to it. Cotton says, "Good Lord, they're going to have to get bigger sticks to beat the frosting out of these fatties, but they'll do it." Again, Not a nice man. He's just not a nice
Not
man.
a very nice guy at all. No, definitely not.
The instructor or sergeant or whatever he is comes up to him. He goes, Colonel Hill, it's been an honor. It's an honor to finally meet our most decorated alumnus. Man, I almost got that out. He goes, "You darn skippy it is, but I don't want my boy getting no special handling." He goes, "Oh, I assure you, Colonel, he'll get the standard treatment." Now, the guy who does this guy's voice, I cannot for the life of me remember his name, but I know exactly who the guy is. He's balding on top. He's been in
Phil Hendry.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, it's Phil Hendry.
He has been in so many things.
Sowers. He does Coach Sowers, a Big Jim, and all them guys.
He was if I'm
Willie
not
Lane.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he's the same guy that was in *Halt and Catch Fire*. I don't know if that's true or not. If it's the guy that I'm thinking it is.
What's it called?
*Halt and Catch Fire*. It was on AMC. It was about the beginning of the computer industry. It was a very good show. It was a drama. I think it went for 3 seasons or something. But he was like the Texan original guy who started the company or whatever. But I believe it's the same guy. But anyway, they get in the Jeep with this guy and they leave. He goes, "Well, boy, may God bless you. Not that it would help you in here." And then they drive off and they leave Bobby.
No, it's not him. You're talking about Toby Huss.
Okay. Is that not Toby Huss who does this voice?
No, it's Phil Hendry.
Okay.
He's the Phil Hendry show or whatever, radio. He was the radio guy.
Toby Huss. Oh, yeah, you're right. Toby Huss. Boy, he has been in so much stuff. You talk about a guy who made a career out of being a character actor.
Yeah, Toby Huss is definitely that guy.
So they drive off, and he's talking to the other instructor, or whatever this guy is, and he goes, "I can hardly wait to see my grandson all toughened up. You think you folks could mail me copies of his daily beating logs?" He goes, "Colonel Hill, you do realize things have changed since your time here." He goes, "All right, you can email them to me." He doesn't even really think about. He doesn't really think about what this guy has said. Now,
he doesn't understand that they no longer. They don't abuse each other anymore. Yeah, they chill out now. It's a little chiller.
Yeah. Artie says Cotton calls people fatty a lot. He served with 2. That's absolutely true. And then, these Alex and Arthur both got the fact that was Toby. Okay, so we're now in the barracks later, and the guys have all gotten their stuff in there, I guess, and they're all set up to do to go to sleep, spend their first night in this hellhole, or what they think is going to be a hellhole. And the drill instructor is in there. "Lights out. I suggest you get as much sleep as you can before the senior cadets come by to welcome you." Ha ha. And he just leaves laughing, right? And so you think,
so just laughing, yeah.
These guys don't know what they're in for. Bobby's heard all the stories. He thinks he's going to get the crap beat out of him or whatever. You hear one of the kids off in the corner go, "Oh, no, I made a code yellow." So, he pissed himself. He was so scared. And then Bobby looks at this other kid and he goes, "Oh my God, my grandpa told me they come in and beat you with sacks full of frozen oranges."
That's crazy. That's kind of alludes almost kind of to Full Metal Jacket or whatever.
Yeah, that's what Artie just said. He thinks it's going to be Full Metal Jacket. Yeah. He goes, "Oh, dang, someone's coming in. Lie back and think of England." Well, that's the second time we've heard that.
There we go. Heard it again.
And he sits there and he's talking to himself. Hugh Grant, Spice Girls, Paddington. Paddington's the one that really gives him the clarity and the comfort.
Yeah.
Toby is the voice of Cotton. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. All right. He says some guys come in, and there are obviously other cadets there, and they're banging on trash can lids and making all this noise and stuff. And then they leave. And the other boy looks at him and goes, "I don't get it. What was that supposed to be scary?" Bobby says, "Well, 5 more minutes like that, and I guess it might have caused some hearing damage." So we're starting to see the cracks in the fact that this place is not what it used to be.
Not at all. Definitely not.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same kind of place it always was. All right, so now we're at the Hill house in the kitchen. Peggy's sad. They're both sitting there trying to eat. You know how you kind of pick through your food as you're eating or whatever. He goes, "Just think, when Bobby comes home from Fort Burke, he's going to be respectful, obedient, and easy to manage." And Peggy goes, she goes, "That's right, Hank, just like a little show dog." It's kind of what you sent him off to be. We're back at the academy. Say it again.
No, definitely. That's what they do. They sent him off because they wanted him to be groomed, I guess.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. They're back at the academy. They're in the mess hall. they're going through the line. Bobby says, he's saying this to another one of the kids. My grandpa says that all you get for breakfast is a spoonful of salt and some stale bread. I don't know how that was ever legal. The other cadet says, oh man, that's how they brainwash you. They starve you first. And then the chef looks at him and says, okay, plebes, move it. Crepe station closes in 5 minutes. And they look around and like there's all this wonderful, it looks like a Vegas buffet or something like that. You know,
it's a real nice like mess hall.
Yeah, they got crepes for God's sakes.
Crepes.
All right, we go back to the Hill House. Thin pancakes. We go back to the Hill House. We're at dinner. It's Peggy, Hank, and Cotton. And Hank's just like, these sure are some good peas, Peggy. What's your secret? She goes, microwave. Cotton says, I wonder if Bobby's being forced to sleep in mud or dung right now. Wait, what's today? Tuesday? Dung. And then Peggy just runs off crying because she can't imagine her kids sleeping in a bunch of feces.
Yeah, that would be a little different. I can understand laying in the mud, crawling around in mud and stuff like that. I'm actually a retired ROTC cadet myself.
Yeah,
I did 4 years in the Navy ROTC program. But,
how do you do that in high school? Do they put you in a bathtub or what?
No, we actually we got to do some cool stuff. So we did a boot camp like program. We kind of got shafted my freshman year on it because for some reason they had to do it at the school.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, they would go out to Fort Parker and rent cabins out there, and we would do it all out there. But like the one year that I was a freshman, we did it there. But every year after that, it was in Fort Parker. But we would do like drill that we would wake them up screaming because I got to scream and yell at them and stuff and wake them up. But you would wake all the freshmen up at 4:30 in the morning, and then you'd go run them for like an hour at 4:30 a.m. and then feed them breakfast and then you would go since you're at the lake, you would teach them how to float with pants, like our uniform pants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Teach them how to float and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of cool. It was a neat experience. I got to go on a minesweeper in Corpus Christi. I got to go on like a ship down there. We got to go to different military bases and see some cool stuff. Got to fly in a C-130 from Abilene. And they opened it up. So like we're at like 10,000 feet, and they like open up the load door while we're sitting there so we could see what it would look like if you were like working on a C-130.
Artie wants to know how many kids you beat with frozen oranges.
I didn't beat any kids with frozen oranges, but there was these 2 kids that were roughhousing, and
frozen peaches.
I wasn't mad at them or nothing, but one of them bumped into me really hard, and I was like, if you throw your head into the side table right there, like your forehead into the side table, you won't get in any trouble. And he did it. I didn't really think he would, but he actually did it. So.
Good God. All right, so we're at the academy. Hank and Peggy are outside now. She has to see her son. She's out there ringing the bell outside the gate. She goes, no one's answering, Hank. Oh, they're probably bound and gagged. Oh my God, what if the wires from this doorbell are connected to his nipples? It's worse than I could have imagined. She starts to kind of scale the gate. The guy comes to the gate. She is on the gate when the guy opens it. And she goes, we demand to see Bobby Hill. Hank says, Peggy, protocol. Sir, permission to see Cadet Hill while keeping a respectful distance from the grounds. The instructor, same guy who came at the beginning, said, oh, you're his father. We talked on the phone. You're welcome in. He goes, I am? He goes, of course you are. So's your lawyer. We have nothing to hide. So, again, Artie's absolutely right. This is definitely they've been sued a couple of times. They're now walking on the academy grounds, and the instructor says, your concern for your son is perfectly normal, but I can assure you Cadet Hill is excelling here. Bobby runs up to him, Mom, Dad. Peggy's like, Bobby, honey, are you okay? Blink if you're not. He goes, I'm great, ma'am. And then the instructor says, Cadet Hill, why don't you take your parents to survival crafts class? Hank says, oh, I can attend the class at Fort Burke. Well, I won't let you down, Bobby. I mean, Cadet Hill. Hank is very excited because, again, everything in his life is trying to prove to his dad who he is. Now they're in this classroom, and it's obviously just a pottery class.
Absolutely, that's all it is a pottery class, and I think it's hilarious that they take pottery and they militarize it and
it's survival crafts.
Call it survival crafting because if the world goes to shit and you need to know how to drink water, you can make your own bowl.
So
make an urn.
The instructor in there says, on the battlefield, you may find yourself stranded without enough water to survive, but with sufficient quantity of mud, you will have the ability to create your own bowl, pot, or decanter, or beaker to collect rainwater. He walks over to Hank and goes, very nice work, Mr. Hill. We'll make sure to have that glazed before you go. Hank turns to Peggy and goes, did you hear that, Peggy? I'm doing it. I'm Fort Burke material. So he made a bowl. Next thing we see, they're back at home, and Hank is sitting there in his chair watching TV with Peggy, and he's drinking out of the bowl like it's a damn cup or something. He's using that stupid bowl he made.
Poured his beer in it, and he's sitting there drinking his beer.
Yeah, he's drinking it out of the stupid bowl. Let's see. Artie says Cotton has a story where he collected rainwater in his upturned eyelids. It's absolutely true. Yeah, he didn't have any mud. He didn't have enough mud to make a bowl. Certainly didn't have any glaze with him. So they're there, and Hank's drinking out of his dumb bowl, and Cotton comes up and goes, where's dinner? He goes, it's 3:00, Dad. He goes, I can't eat excuses. You heard from Bobby. Hank says, yeah, he's surviving. He goes, surviving? He's got too much of you in that one to be in surviving at Fort Burke, pointing at Peggy. He goes, even I barely survived, and I didn't have Gas Monkey or Sasquatch for parents.
That would be a good shirt. That would be a really good shirt. Have
Gas Monkey and Sasquatch?
Yeah, but it would be like a propane tank with like a monkey tail on it, and then it would be Sasquatch, but with Peggy Hill's glasses on.
That would be very nice. Yeah. Peggy looks at him and goes, I will have you know, Cotton, that Bobby is thriving. We went to Fort Burke yesterday and saw him. He goes, what in the name of Ned? They ain't supposed to let you two on campus. She says, they're required by law, and we sat in on one of the classes. Hank, show him the bowl you made. He goes, what the? You made a bowl? He goes, well, yeah, it's a combat bowl. Bobby made one too. A combat bowl. Bobby made one too. Combat bowl? The only bowl he's supposed to make is from a hollowed out skull. That is absolutely my favorite line in this entire show. The only bowl he's supposed to make is from a hollowed out skull. Now, Cotton is driving to the academy. That's
obviously a little bit extreme. Yeah,
it is very extreme. He's driving to the academy. He's obviously very pissed because this is not the way it's supposed to be. They're supposed to beat these kids to death. He gets there and he sees the hole, right? The structure that's set up as quote unquote the hole, and he's talking to it. And he goes, "How you doing in there, you poor saps?" He thinks it's funny. He looks in it, and all he sees are Christmas decorations shoved in this thing.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What the?" And then he walks up, he pushes his way to talk to the instructor and goes, "Is that all the respect you got from me? You go and turn my childhood home into a giant sissy factory? How's my grandson supposed to toughen up with you candy in his ass?" And then the instructor, general, whatever he is, says, "Sir, when I got here from Antioch College, you're fired. Get out." He goes, "You can't fire me." He goes, "Is that a fact?" Obviously he can, which I don't really understand. He makes this guy leave, and then Cotton just takes over the place. So later in the office on the phone, they're in there, and he goes, "Okay, Powder Puff, I'd like you to speak to Clean Latrine Jean, who happens to be the chairman of your board of trustees." The guy looks at the phone. He's like, "Oh, General Gene Jefford?" He goes, "That's right." He goes, "Hello. Yes, sir. Very well. Can I keep the desk chair?" He goes, "Thank you, sir." And he just pushes the chair right out the office, and this dude is gone. I mean, he's just done.
Done. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Cotton's got some power. Cotton's got some actual power.
Yeah, he pulled. He did some pull with old Clean Latrine Jean.
Clean Latrine Jean. Next thing we see is a group of the cadets out there playing hacky sack, which I'm assuming they were only supposed to play with testicles or skulls.
Yeah.
And one of the kids says, "Hey, after this, let's go to the mess and get a smoothie." We see the bag go off to the side, or the hacky sack go off to the side. Bobby goes over to get it. He looks up, and over the hill comes this figure on a horse coming closer and closer. And then we realize that it's Cotton on a horse.
Cotton Hill on a horse. Second time I've seen him on a horse.
Yeah. He goes, "Grandpa?" And Cotton says, "Fall in. The previous commander was just as soft as ineffective as your parents, and your parents are not paying good money for that. Now I'm here to make sure they get their money's worth with interest." And they all just kind of gasp. Yeah, Artie, that's a good point. I do kind of want to know.
Same place he got it for Bobby's birthday. Remember how he rode up on Bobby's birthday on a horse?
I do want to know where Cotton gets all his horses. So he goes, all the kids gasp when they hear him talk like this. He said, there's going to be changes around here. Ain't none of you going to like it. Day is night, joy is pain, love is hate. One kid, it's just way too much for him. He just passes right out. He goes, good thinking, Private McFainty. Sleep up, because starting at 0400 hours, you don't get no more. See you at sunrise, weekies. And he gets on his horse and just rides off. And these kids are just, their mouths are wide open. They don't know what's just happened. And they're
the whole
afraid.
world's come crumbling down.
They're afraid of what's coming. That's our second commercial break. We'll take that, and we will be
right back.
There it is.
MosleyMD.com.
I've always had thin hair my whole life. It breaks off at a certain length. In the last 6 months, I've noticed it just really bad. I mean, you could totally see it. I wear a hat a lot. I tried several different products. My experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
MosleyMD.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator. Hey, and we're back. We are on the downhill slide on this sucker. We are the next morning. We're still at the academy.
We are.
And we're out there raising the flag. And then we see Cotton in the office. Bobby comes in sock feet and his undershirt and shorts, which I thought was kind of weird. He comes in and he goes, state your business. He goes, Grandpa, Gampy, Ging Ging, it's Bobby
Ging,
here.
ging.
Your
Yeah,
Bing
ging,
Bing.
ging.
He goes, Ging Ging, it's your Bing Bing. He goes, I ain't your Ging Ging. You ain't my Bing Bing. And if you think I'm giving you special treatment, well, you're right on target. He goes, good, because I told the fella, hush, boy, I will special treat you to a double dose of pain. Why? I want you to come out of this cauldron of burning hell the best damn cadet you can be. He goes, well, thanks, but you don't have to worry about that. All we really want is the phone service back and the mattresses for our beds. He goes, quiet. Now, your daddy tells me you have a problem raking leaves. Well, I guarantee you won't have a problem raking leaves after you picked up every leaf on this campus with a fork. And he holds up a fork to him. Later, we see Bobby.
I don't know what that really teaches, honestly. I don't know what kind of reinforcement that would do. That would just make me hate somebody.
It just frustrates a kid, is what it is. It just frustrates them and makes them angry. Later in the field, you see all the leaves. Bobby's just farting around out there. He's stuffed his whole shirt full of leaves. He's just kind of wallowing around like the tire guy or whatever. What's that guy? Not Firestone.
Oh, Michelin
Goodyear.
Man.
Like the Goodyear, huh? Michelin Man. There you go.
Yeah.
God, I went through all the tire kinds. He's just kind of waddling around out there. Cotton comes up and he goes, "What the hell are you doing, boy?" He goes, "Well, you gave me a fork, so I figured I'd eat the leaves." And he just kind of, yeah. And he goes, "Boy, am I stuffed." And he just looks around. He's got all these leaves. He goes, "Oh, I'm just kidding, Grandpa." And he empties his shirts of all the leaves. "Maybe this is my fault for not properly motivating you. If it's food you want," he goes, "Oh, I could eat." So he takes him into the mess hall, and there is a huge like pile of food sitting in front of Bobby. And he goes, "You don't want to rake the leaves, then maybe you need more energy. That rotten pile of backwash is all for you, boy, and you're going to keep shoving it down until it starts coming up." He goes, "Okay." And he just starts eating it. Artie's got a good point here. He says Cotton punishing Bobby through all of these trials is kind of like Richard Gere in doing push-ups in Officer and Gentleman when they're hosing him down and stuff.
Oh, yeah. When they're hazing him. Yeah.
So he's eating and eating and eating. And
I really think it's funny that he tries to punish him, and it's just like Bobby is like concrete.
Bobby's stalwart, man. I mean, he's something else. Time passes, he's still eating a little bit, and then he kind of sits back, and you think, "Oh, okay, well, it's finally got to him." Well, no, he just loosens his belt and starts eating again.
Yeah, he's good to go.
This really pisses off Cotton. He goes, "Dinner's over. Now I'm going to give you something cold for dessert." He goes, "Okay." He takes him outside, and he's got a giant block of ice, which he makes Bobby sit on in his underwear. And he goes, "Anything cracks if you freeze it long enough." Time passes, and we know this because they come back around to Bobby, and Bobby has sunk down into the cube of ice.
Like it's a chair, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, his body heat has it's sunk him down into it, and time has passed.
Bobby running hot.
He goes, "How you doing, boy?" He goes, "I'm okay. Mom says I'm naturally built for winter climates," which... He's a hefty boy. He goes, "God dang it, you're getting in the hole. The hole's what broke me, and that's what's going to break you too." So he takes him over to the hole, and we see that the sun is out. It's very hot out there. He's going to try to put him in there so that he wants to break his spirit finally.
Yeah, I don't understand why, like, all basic training is in the military is to make sure you're physically fit and brainwashed.
Yeah, for the most part. It's just so you'll follow orders. Yeah, like not think about it. So he takes him over to the hole, and he goes, "Time to say goodbye, soldier. Go in and get your grow-up box." He pushes him in the box, and he goes, "Ging, ging." He goes, "Quit your still standing. Start running until you hit the horizon," and slams the door and tells those kids to get the hell out of here. So they get out, and they leave him. We get this cut to Hank and Peggy sitting in the movie theater.
Yeah.
And we overhear, I don't know what movie they're watching, but we overhear, "See, Forky, I just knew there was a better world outside the cutlery drawer." So I guess it's about knives and forks. And she looks at Hank. She's like, "I wonder what Bobby's doing right now." "Oh, probably having a bull session in the barracks with his new pals. They're just sitting there eating popcorn." And then it goes back to Bobby. A boy comes to check on Bobby in the hole. And he's like, Bobby, are you okay? Tap once if you're okay." And it is kind of like the silverware drawer meets Toy Story. Well, there was a fork spork that came to life in Toy Story, so maybe it's the same thing. But anyway, Forky. He never, and that's what their name is, Forky. But he never answers this kid, so the kid thinks that Bobby's in real trouble. He just kind of walks away, but there's really nothing the kid can do about it. We see a lot of time pass, sunset, sunrise, all that stuff. And then clearly animated. You're right, Artie. So now we're back at Casa Linda. Hank is there. He knocks on the door. Dee Dee answers. He goes, "Oh, hey, Dee Dee, I got the new TV guide here with all the Judge shows circled like my dad likes it. Is he around?" I don't know if you remember TV Guide very well, but...
No, I remember TV Guide for sure.
I used to,
that. Or the newspaper used to run TV Guide in
Star
it every
Time.
day.
Yeah, it was called Star Time.
Yeah.
And I used to get that out, and I would circle the stuff that we're going to watch or whatever, or the things that I wanted to record or watch.
Yeah, me too. I didn't circle it, but I would just like make a mental note. All right, I gotta be in front of the TV at this time on this day.
I was either circling that or I was circling stuff in the Sears catalog. One or the other.
There you go. Yeah.
I
was circling titties in Hustler magazines.
He said, "Is he still around?" She goes, "No, Cotton's at Fort Burke." He goes, "What?" "He has temporarily taken over the academy." Again, don't know how that works, but Sure. He goes, oh my God, no. He goes, yes, he is ruling with an iron fist. He threw Bobby in the hole about 3 days ago. Hank's just, whoa! He's very upset, very animated here. The next thing we see, we're at the hole with Cotton and the other cadets. Apparently it's time to take Bobby out of the hole and check on him and see if he's broken his spirit. He goes, he ain't going to be pretty sight, boys. Humpty Dumpty's done cracked, but now we can put him back together and rebuild him as a super cadet. He goes to open it, and you see Hank drive up behind him. Now, I have a simple question here. Why does Hank get to drive on the grass at the academy just up into the middle of nowhere? Right,
I don't know.
Kids?
Yeah, I don't know.
You've got a clearly insane man with no shins who's taken over the academy, and now you're just letting a guy drive up in the grass.
Way. Yeah,
you know, I mean, it just seems
it's a lawless wasteland. Yeah.
It seems very inept. Anyway,
Mississippi.
Hank drives up, and he goes, "Dad, are you crazy? Let him out." I was just fixing to. Hank goes, they open the door, and Hank's like, Bobby, give him some air. Bobby's turned over, so you can't see whether he's nuts or whether he's in bad shape or whatever. Finally, he just kind of rolls over and goes, oh, hey, Dad. He crawls out. He does his big stretches.
This is awesome,
like he just got up from a big nap or whatever. And he goes, oh, well, I've tried a mattress. I've tried cement. I'm a mattress guy.
I just like how he does it too. Like he's just so like, oh, I've tried cement. Oh, I'm a mattress guy.
It's just so nonchalant. Like Bobby's just like, yeah, you ain't breaking me.
Yeah,
I don't even know that Bobby.
Good nap. Thanks for the nap.
Well, at this point, you don't even know if Bobby really thought about being broken or not. He's just like getting through it. You know, you almost think he's oblivious to it, but we find out that he's not. He goes, Bobby, are you okay? I mean, the kids laugh at Bobby, you know, because he made it through it and he made a joke. He goes, same old, same old. And then Cotton says, I was merciless. I dropped down on him like a steam trunk full of concrete. He goes, well, you didn't budge. You didn't budge him, did you? He goes, I don't get it. What's so funny? Because I told you it wasn't easy. You didn't believe me, did you, Dad? He goes, oh, I guess he was just born a pile of mush. And Hank, again, here's your morality lesson. Here's your tie it all up with a bow.
Yeah.
Hank says, well, I guess you could say that, but maybe mush isn't all that bad. You keep stomping on it, but it's all give. It just stays mush. You can't build it up. You can't break it down either. In a funny way, mush kind of has the edge. Cotton kind of starts laughing. He goes, can you imagine a pile of mush in those POW camps? He goes, he would have driven them Tojos crazy. 3 days with Bobby, and they would quit the war. Bobby, you see, over there drinking from a water hose now. He goes, I wish you could have seen the old Fort Burke, Hank, but I guess these days is gone. He goes, you know, Colonel, all this time I've been talking to you didn't grant me permission to speak. He goes, that's right. That's practically insubordination. You better drop down and give me 20, boy. And he goes, yes, sir. Starts doing push-ups. 3, 4. No. You're doing it wrong. Cadet, start over. You know, that whole thing, it's Hank giving his dad a very small victory. You know, he gives his dad a very, very small victory. So, I mean, it's actually kind of nice. Yeah. Again, Artie's asking the question I asked. How did he get past the gate? He just comes up and is like, hey, Dad. I mean, it's just that it's a very insecure place. I don't know that you want to send your kids there. But Bobby's with the other cadets, and this is how it ends. He says, the cadets say, how'd you do it, Bobby? How'd you survive the hole? Yeah, Arthur says Hank has to remind Cotton that he's a prick. He goes, well, I admit I started getting a little worried, but then I found some inspirational graffiti on the wall and it kept me going. And the camera pans over and it says Cotton Hill. Yeah, it says Cotton Hill 2 days. He scratched it in the cement. And then right underneath it, it says Bobby Hill 3 days. So Bobby outlasted Cotton. He's tougher than Cotton, honestly.
And I don't even think, I think that once he saw that his grandpa only did 2 days, he's like, oh, you only did 2. He said, I could sleep in here for 3 like a bear. And I could probably do 5 days if you really want to go at it.
Bobby's pretty amazing when it comes to that kind of stuff. Bobby doesn't let a lot phase him except for love. Love is definitely Bobby's Achilles heel.
Smearing chocolate on his chest and all that.
Yeah. But we get our credits, and then afterwards we go, what? You made a bowl? And that's it.
A bowl. Yep,
that's the entire thing.
That is the entire thing.
But we want to thank you guys for sticking with us. This one had a little bit of a rough start. We had to start over, but we're all good now.
We made it.
This, again, was season 7, episode 15, 7ABE06, An Officer and a Gentle Boy, originally aired March 9th, 2003. Yep. You want to tell them where they can find us if they want more?
if you want more, you can find us at BWAAKOTH on all social medias. And go ahead and send us in some emails with suggestions, whatever you got going, at BWAAKOTH@gmail.com. That's BWAAKOTH.
And that's pronounced all right, and we will be back on Friday with a That Ain't Right Friday. We got 2 episodes here in the coming weeks, this one and the next one, that are very Bobby centric. So our Fridays are going to be a little Bobby reminiscent as well.
Bobby-esque.
Yeah, Bobby-esque. So thank you guys for joining us, and I think there's just one thing left to say.
We Matanye.
We Matanye indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.